think South Africans don't say battery or battery or whatever. They go battery. Save your battery. So yes. Okay. What are we learning today? Today we're going to learn positions, how to position things on your page. So I'm going to show you maybe four CSS, properties and how to position. You might be asking what's positioning? Why do we need to know it? Is it relevant? Um, is it not old technology? We'll get there. We'll get there. So it's fine. We'll get there one step at a time. I'm having to type with one hand because Audrey doesn't hear me when I put the mic down. So apologies if I'm typing really slow. But you can raise your queries with Audrey afterwards. So let's begin, shall we? So I was just typing out these elements which I'm going to move around the screen. Oh wait. Hello.
Hello?
I don't know what happened to my Zoom. I can't seem to see if anyone's still here. That's weird. Okay, I'll probably leave and I'll come back. Sorry. I don't know what's happened to my Zoom. Start from the top. I'll take it from the top. So I'm going to share with you CSS positioning. Um yeah, this is a good skill to learn because it allows you to position things around the window and how you want them to behave, etc., etc. Okay, so I'm going to teach you four properties. So position relative, um, position absolute, position fixed, and position sticky. These all make sense the more you start playing with them, but maybe I can show a demonstration if I can. So let me just go to. Sorry, I see a comment, but I don't know what it says. Let me have a look. Oh, hello, Princess Diana. Hello. All right. So you see how this header here, right, is at the top. See how it's stationed at the top there? And if we keep moving down the page, it stays it's fixed at the top, okay? That can be achieved using either position sticky or position fixed. You can choose either one. And it's up to your preference, but I'll show you how both of them work. Um There's another one where if we go to menu called services and click it, and we get this box that's hovering over here. Now, this is called position absolute, right? It's absolute. So you're telling it specifically that you want it to be at the bottom of this element or something called services, just like this, okay? So yeah, and then relative is very simple. Relative is just like regular stacking on the page. So in this case, the box with 250 successful deliveries is positioned relative to, the box that has 249 happy clients and 400 hours of work. Sorry, 400 hours of work box is positioned relative to the box which says 300 solutions. So we'll play around with these. They'll start to make sense the more I show you guys. Okay. So let's jump into it, right? Let's just jump into it. So we'll start with the very first one, position relative. So I'll split my window into two so you can see both at the same time. Right. So the first one I've named it class relative. So I can just go ahead and go dot relative, like so. And the first thing you do, if you want to affect position, you just go for position, right? Right. So you go position, and then all these options will come up. But like I say, I'm going to teach you four because only four are very critical, and you're always going to use those in day-to-day life. And if you choose to continue your career as a coder, these are the four that you're always going to meet, right? So we're going to start with position relative. So relative just means that the shape is going to be relative to the body. So remember the body, right? I'll come here and I'll inspect. I'll just quickly explain. Right. So the body, uh, yeah. So the body is the entire window. So you see how I've just put my mouse over the body element? That's the entire window. So position relative. It's okay, Salim. You can always show us at the end. I'll try and teach you this, and then you can show us your homework at the end. Okay. Awesome. I'm happy to. I want to see it. I want to see it, but let's do it at the end. So, yes. So, body is everything. So, position. Always remember, position is relative to the body. So, the position happens inside the window, right? Body, window, it's the same thing. Okay. So position relative, there we go. I'll give it a height of about 200 pixels. Okay. And then a color of red. I don't know. I'll just give it red. So we just distinguish. All right. So position red is going to be relative to this, but let me just make the screen a lot longer than it is, so you guys get the sense of what I'm trying to see. So imagine we're scrolling down the page. That's a bit big. I'll make it 500. You see, position relative goes outside the view. You see that? Okay. So position relative goes outside the view. That's because it's relative to whatever position it was declared at that time. So you can literally have, you can potentially have, wait, sorry, not that. Wait. Ah, there you go. There you go. Sorry. I wanted to duplicate, several other div tags. You see that? So you can legit have, several shapes that can use position relative. So in this case, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. You see that? They just stacked on top of each other. That's how it is. So each div tag is relative to the div tag before it or after it. Okay. So let me undo all of that. So we just stick to 4. I don't want to confuse you guys. Okay. Now, what if we want this position absolute, okay, to go on top of position relative. How do we do that? Well, simple. So let's just go dot absolute, okay, and let's go position absolute. It's in the name, really. I've kept it very simple so you guys can tell the names apart. Okay, and let's just save it. So immediately, if you notice, um, I'll just quickly comment this out so you can see. I'll give you the caveat. So if you look in the browser now, you see how it says position absolute and then position fixed, right? So you see how you can clearly read position fixed. If I turn on position absolute for the second, element, you see how it's now, displaying above the fixed. You can't really read it, but it'll make sense if we go height, if we give it a height of, yeah, let's say 150 pixels and a background of purple. I want something a bit dark so you guys can see. Right. So you see this is position absolute, right? So by default, it won't be the entire length of the the window or the body. What it will do, yes, yes, Kupa, you can definitely ask a question at the end of the lesson as well. What it does is it takes the width of the content inside it. In this case, the size of the text. So if we put position absolute Princess Diana here, you see that? It just takes the width of that. Now, why is it called absolute? Absolute allows us to put it anywhere, right? So in this case, if you notice, I haven't told it to go up or down or right or left or whatever, right? Okay. So watch what happens. Watch what happens if I go to position absolute and then go top and say 0. You see that? Position top 0, position absolute top 0 pushes it to the very top. You see that? So now this position absolute is above the position relative. That's why I say relative is relative to the body, but absolute is based on how you want it to, show across the screen. Now, by default, it always goes top left like this. But if you wanted to go to the right, you just go right and then say 0 as well. There you go. See? So position absolute, top will make it go to the top. And if you want it to be the top right, you then say right equals 0. Now you can even change this to bottom. Okay, bottom will take it to the bottom of the page. So you go that. You see, now it's going to the bottom of the page. You see that? And then if you wanted to return to the left, you can just go left here instead of right. And there you go. Now it's on the left. So you're always gonna have these two combinations, top and left, top and right. Or you're going to have bottom and left, or bottom and right. So I'll do comments. I'll write a comment here and say position absolute will use these combinations. Yes, Audrey, I can see your hand. What's your question?
Okay. So
Yes,
can you put it like in the center? Or it's
in
not.
the center.
Mm.
Okay. Yeah, good, good. I like how you asked that question. Very good. Thank you. Thank you for being observant. I'll do that for you right now so you can see. So top and right, and I'll say bottom and right. Okay. And then bottom bottom, and left, just like this. All right. So these are the combinations that you're going to use if you want to control. But Audrey said something very nice, which I like. Put it in the middle. Now we don't know how to do the middle. Like I can probably go top and go, can we do 20 pixels and see if it works? And then until we gauge that. No, 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 no. That's too, that's too 2002. We need to do it very wisely. So what we do, right, Audrey? So for the top position, we'll go 50%, right? So it takes it to the 50 to the halfway point of the screen. This means that whenever your screen is positioned, let me do that. So, however your screen looks at the time of your positioning, whether it's big, whether it's small, okay, the box is always going to be 50% of the screen. You see that? Now, how then do we get it into the center? Same thing. So, if left is zero, if top is zero and left is zero, if we say 50 on top, let's also go 50% on the left. You can do this with right as well. You can even go right 50%. It's the same thing. It depends on which side you're working at, but in most cases, it's always top and left. Those are the two most common combinations. Now, it's not perfectly centered, but we can fix that using something called transform. Okay. There's a property called transform. All right. And what it does is you use a property called translate. So it's 50% in the middle, sorry, 50% from the top, but not quite, because you can notice the space down here is smaller than the space up here. So we'll fix that first. We'll go minus 50% for the first part, which is I believe that's the left and the right, sorry. And then the second part is also minus 50%. So there you go. Now it's perfectly centered.
So can I ask you, like, can it be like tops? So it doesn't make sense. Like,
Oh, top center. Okay, yeah, yeah. No, no. So top center, we change top to zero, right? To take it back to the top, you see, and then we just remove the minus 50 here to zero, like that. That's it. Or you can just go translate X, which is because remember X is left to right, and then just go minus 50%, and that's it. There you go.
I see.
Yeah, I like that. Thank you for the challenge.
So you can keep it there.
You want me to put it back? Okay, easy, easy. I'll just comment this out. Oh, sorry. I will just comment this out and I'll change this back to zero and voila. But like I told you guys, it's never the full width. So if you want it to be full screen, you go with 100%. So it goes across the entire screen now. Okay. So this is position absolute. Now, what's for absolute? It's however you want it displayed. Maybe Salim wants to put her ice creams, across the screen there, and then have pies on the right. We don't know. It's up to you. Okay. So you can use position absolute if you want to absolutely. I know that's a bit redundant. Absolutely position your content. Okay. All right, enough of that. So now that you've noticed, position relative is the easiest one out of all these four. It's literally just two lines, position relative. Now, can you use top in position relative? Yes. I can go top and go 50 pixels. Actually, let me make it 300 pixels so you can see. You see, you can do the same thing with position relative, but you don't want that. Okay, so you just leave it like that. All right. Now my Zoom has disappeared again. Can you guys still hear me? I hope. Okay. All right.
No,
We can hear you, sir.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Salim, very funny. Trying to trick me. Right. So, position fix. So, if I'll give you a hint. If position relative is the simplest one, position fixed and sticky work the same way as position absolute, except position fixed, it will always sit above everything else. Okay. So if position absolute sits above something that's position relative, position fixed will sit above position absolute and position relative at all times. And I'll show you now. So let's go fixed, okay? And I'll probably show you a practical example of something you've never noticed. You'll probably go to those websites, you probably don't, but we'll experiment, okay? So let's go position fixed, okay? And let's see that. So immediately fixed is now, above position sticky, so you can't really see it. So let's give it a height of yeah, I'm feeling generous. Let's go 100 pixels. Okay. And background, um I'll give it orange, I guess. Okay, there you go. So by if you remember what I just said about position absolute, it takes the size of the text. So if we put position fixed queen Lolo uh is a chef here, it's going to take the size of the text like this, you see? So what we'll do is we can also say with 100% if we want, like so. Or we can even tell it we want it to just be 100 pixels. That's fine. There's no harm in that. It's up to you. You can leave the width if you want. You can make it full screen. It's up to you. But now I want to show you something very interesting. So imagine we're scrolling down the page. You see that? You see how position absolute and relative stay at the top? Position fixed is always going to be fixed to the screen. Okay, see that? So that's where position fixed, even order is like, oh, like how does that work? Okay, this is how CSS makes things very funny. But now, if you remember what I just taught you, if you want it to be at the bottom of the screen, you just go bottom 0, and it goes to the bottom. So there you go. So imagine you're scrolling your content. Maybe you have an advertisement about pink Golf GTIs here that you want the customer to see while reading your website. Yeah, you can definitely do that. There's no problem with that. You can definitely do it. Or if you have a header, if you have like your navigation header at the top, you can put it there and then just go with 100%. So remember when I showed you Mr. Phillips, handiwork, right? If we go back to this website, so remember how you see this header here, the white one, this one, that's position fixed. You see that? That's a fixed position because it's staying above everything else. You see that? So it's the same thing with us. We just did a position fixed, which always stays right there. And Audrey likes to have things in the middle. So I'll just go top 50%. So it stays in the middle, just like that. See that? And then I'll just copy this code. Yes, yes, Leon. Was it Leon or Seth? I can't tell. Uh, so no, no, sorry. Let's go Y, not X. There you go. So it's dead stuck in the middle. So you can probably make something annoying where someone's trying to like scroll, but they can't get this to disappear. You can even make something like this. You see that? So you can do that. And then height, you can make it 400 pixels if you want. So it can be super, super duper annoying. So look at that. So imagine you have your position fixed and it's like 600 pixels. People are like, how do I see the other stuff behind it? You can't. All right. So there you go. That's position fixed. So position absolute, position fixed, and position sticky, they more or less have the same properties. Okay. So I'll comment this out. Oh, in fact, I'll leave it because Audrey would like to experiment with this code and same as Cooper. So last one, sticky. It's the way it is. So I'll probably show you something practical that you know every day, like gum. You know how whenever you take out chewing gum, and then when you like press it between your fingers, it's sticky, right? It's the same
Yes.
concept here. Yes, yes. Perfect, Salim. Thank you. So that's the same concept. It's sticky. It means that it sticks to whatever it is. So let's just go position and let's go sticky. Let's give it a height of 50 pixels, I guess. Okay. Uh, Princess Diana, sorry, what background color should we use this time?
Uh, Maybe aqua.
Aqua. Okay, there we go. All right, thank you. Right. So you see how it's still there, right? The position sticky, it's just there. It's not like it's done anything. But watch if I go top equals 0. Let's see what happens. B B B B. It's not doing anything. So what position sticky is meant to do is that when you scroll, right? Like you're scrolling normally here, it's meant to like stay at this position and then keep going. So let me see if I can go body position relative. Let me give it a crack and see. Uh, there we go, 350. Let me show you.
Very
Let me show
big.
you. Yeah, very big. Yeah. But I'll show you what position sticky is meant to work like. Um, right. You see this yellow box, Alan? Right.
Yeah.
So if I keep scrolling, you see how it's moving, but then it hits a certain point, then it stops. That's what position sticky is meant to do. See that? So it's sticky like the gum, like I was telling you before. Oh, oh, sorry, Seth. I thought I heard your voice, but yeah, sorry. I'm sorry, your
Sorry,
PC is not working.
Mr. Bongan,
Yes, yes, yes.
I just want to ask, stick element, is it the same with index?
No. Z index is just the depth of what you want. Okay. So, right. Good question. Remember how I told you that position absolute can. Okay, okay. We'll make this small for Salem's sake. Sorry, the position sticky. Right. So you see how position is sitting above position relative, right? Now, what if I want position relative to show above position absolute? Simple. I just go Z index 1, just like that. What that means is Z is how far. It's more for 3D space. I don't know how to explain it. Let me just go uh 3D coordinates. Now we're going into a deep mathematical lesson. I hope you guys are not going to be bored by this. Happy to see you happy, Cooper. Right. So it's like this. Okay. So imagine your window, your code is this blue space, right? So the Z index is how far you want the element to come above or go behind the window in a sense. So everything by default is on this blue plane. But if you use the Z index, it's basically me saying, oh, I want position relative to be always above position absolute. Or I can always say position absolute is always going to be above position relative, and I'll put 10. So it just means between 1 and 10, absolute is like 9 units above. So even if I change this to 3, it, absolute it's still going to be above, unless I go 11 and then position relative overrides position absolute. Does it make sense now? Or I probably confused the whole entire class now, but I won't talk about Z index, so please ignore that. That was only for Mr. Phillips' benefit. So I want you to focus on positions, position fixed, sticky, absolute, and relative. Now I'll just go over it again. All right. So I'll take position absolute. I'll leave it like this. Sorry. Maybe I'll remove 100% and then I'll move it to the right so you guys can have a full picture like this. Okay. So once again, position relative, it's relative to its position on the window, right? Absolute is when you want to move the element into a different position by your own volition, by your own interests. Okay. Position sticky is meant to stick when you reach a certain point. Okay. And position fixed is always fixed on the window. All right. So just remember that. Now, Salam had her hand up. What's your question, Salam?
I don't understand anything.
I can't simplify it any simpler than this. It's a matter of you try and learn it as much as you can. It will make sense straight ahead. You never understand anything in the first go. So it's you play with it, and then the more you use it, the more it makes sense. That's the only way I can encourage you guys to master these techniques. I don't expect you guys to learn this in one day. Never. I'm never gonna put that much pressure on you guys. Maybe it's gonna take you 6 months, maybe a year, maybe 2 years, maybe 3 years. But I'm giving you I'm trying to teach you skills that if you were to apply in the real world, they would actually work. So yeah, it's programming is just, how should I put it? It's a test of will. So you learn it, you be patient, and then once you become patient, you go from one level to another level. So it's okay, Salam. That's why I'm here. That's why Mr. Phillips here to help you. If you need extra lessons, that's also on the table. All right. But as I promised, Salim wants to show us her homework, and Kupa also has a question. So I've said so much, so I'll stop here for today, and we'll let Salim demonstrate her homework. Okay. So thank you so much, Salim. I'll stop sharing here. All right.
Okay.
Thank you.